Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live. I am your host, Mitch Case. I am also the co-founder of our company, More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen relationships with their employees and their clients by showing gratitude, appreciation, and empathy, one meal at a time. We come to you every single Thursday, not Friday, every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time, interviewing leaders of organizations that really kind of lead with people versus necessarily just profit. What are the things that we can be doing to help the people that we are blessed to serve to ultimately raise that bottom line and help the organization out? So I'm really excited about today's guest, as we're going to talk a little bit about some transitions through a merger and acquisition side of things and how do you maintain culture around that. But before we go and do that, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, True Captive. They believe in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do want to learn more about their unique captive healthcare program, go on over to truecaptive.com and get some information. If you'd like an introduction, I'd be happy to make that happen for you as well. So what I'm going to do for our guest today is I'll do a quick introduction and we'll have him jump on the show real quick. So as I had kind of mentioned in that beginning there, that we're going to be talking about some mergers and acquisitions. So Sherif Said has started a company. That company then was purchased by another company, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But the company that he's now working for is Strategic. Oh, goodness. I'm going to totally blank on this now as I'm not looking at my notes. Strategic Innovation Group. I apologize for that, Sherif. So with that, he has gone from CEO to helping build this larger, bigger organization with his team on board as well. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and welcome Sherif to the show. Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, why don't you give us a little bit of a high level of specifically what it is that you're doing inside of Strategic Innovation Group, your title, and then what the company actually does.
Absolutely. So I'm vice president at Strategic Innovation Group, strategically focused on partnerships with, go forward or go to market industry leaders from a VAR or from a value added product. So things like Tableau, things like Alteryx, things like Oracle, things like MuleSoft and AWS. So creating partnerships with all those organizations and then going to market in the federal government space to help position and create subject matter expertise.
Right on. Okay, that was very, very in-depth knowledge that I don't have right now. So we'll have to dive deeper in that another time so I can fully understand all the things that you do. But we're going to start diving into the people side of things with this as well. So why don't you go ahead and get us started with an impact story? So what's something that you have done or your company, whether that was a Strategic Innovation Group or the organization that you got started with, it's Essalytics.
Essalytics, yep. That was
Essalytics. All right. I'm working on that one hard. If that has caused any sort of impact, positive impact on a team member or even a community member.
Yeah, so it's really two stories. The most recent one, I think one of the biggest impacts is, well, let me start with the old one first. So we were rolled off of a project and we had to carry the bench and the team for 4 or 5 months while we were out there hunting and gathering to try to find a new contract for these guys. And so instead of worrying about profits and all that stuff, we wanted to make sure that our team was taken care of because we would not have been where we were without our team. So we literally kept every single one of our employees on the bench and paid for them throughout the entirety while we were looking for a new contract.
Wow.
So that's one impact. The second one was when we were working on this acquisition with Strategic Innovation Group, our number one goal was to make sure to retain all of our talent. Because again, we would not be acquired without the talent that we had, right? They were the bread and butter. They were the ones doing all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, my partner and I, we did a really, really good job of negotiating and making sure that they all stayed intact. They all got to keep their salaries, got to keep their positions, got to do what they love essentially. And Strategic Innovation Group was actually really great in allowing them to come over and do that. And it's been almost a year now, and everyone is still here. We've retained everyone through that.
We have 100% retention through
100% retention.
What is the industry average around that, like, or just in general, what's the average through a merger like that or an acquisition? It's got to be incredibly low.
Yeah, I mean it's listen, no merger or acquisition is easy. There's a lot of learning on both sides. There's a lot of, well, this is how we used to do it. This is how you have to do it.
Yeah,
And specifically around, I mean, the little things you don't think about, like insurance, right? The little things like 401k plans, right? What you offered versus what they offer. And it's
yeah,
not
good
always the
point.
easiest. And so to have that loyalty and that trust from our employees to stick around, right, and fight through it with us, it's been awesome.
Man, kudos to you guys
Thank you.
for doing that. And I that kind of leads us really a great way into the next section of the show, which is, what truly makes it more than a business. Um, I would love to even kind of dive into some of the things that maybe the challenges you faced through that you had to kind of overcome to make sure you um maybe you did do some hand holding through that time period, but some of the things that you guys did to make sure that they stay focused on the end goal and not the challenges that they were consistently facing through that transition.
Yeah, so one of the best things we did was, Doug Wilson and I, we made sure that we were the point of contacts and the liaisons between the two organizations. So we kind of had our group, our Salytics group that was coming over to SIG, and then the SIG team. And while they were figuring things out, they would always come to us with the questions, and then we would go and get them either answered and then go back. So kind of helping keep that commonality or that common face for who they need to go to for things kind of helped settle things and make it at ease, right? They didn't
Yeah, yeah.
deal with the, well, I don't know, right? We
Who am I
also
supposed to
made
reach
sure,
out to?
yeah, exactly. And so we also made sure that we always got answers, right? And so Strategic Innovation Group did a good job of that, of making sure that they had the right answers, so we can go back to them with something that was settling.
So I mean, in general, just communication,
Yeah,
making
yeah,
sure, like, ironic, right?
yeah.
And the more you can communicate, the better things go, both in personal life and professional life.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, maybe tell us a little bit more about whether it is Asalytics or SIG. Like, what are some of the things outside of what you just kind of talked about that truly shows that it is more than a business? It isn't just the bottom line. And you've given some great examples already, just as you mentioned, but maybe give us a couple other nuggets that you guys have done, because keeping 100% through a transition like that is insane.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. We were very blessed for that. We are very focused as well as on community, right? So we do sponsor the local basketball team here. We do sponsor the mentor protege, or the mentor. So Loudoun County Chamber of Commerce has a mentorship program where you can actually educate and coach younger kids that are trying to start businesses and things like that. So we're heavily involved in that.
Mm,
We sit on the board at the Chamber of Commerce, Loudoun Chamber of Commerce GovCon committee. So making sure not just the business, right? We're involved in the community as well,
yeah.
and I think that kind of helps keep us grounded, right? It's not just about the business; it's about the community as well.
Well, I'm not sure if we had a chance to talk about this, but basketball is definitely near and dear to my heart, where I host a group in the Kansas City area every Friday as a networking event. We just happen to play basketball versus shake hands and send out business cards. And clearly,
Oh,
you've
no.
got Air Jordan there in the
Yeah.
background. So you mentioned, you sponsor the local basketball team.
Mhm.
What does that look like as far as sponsoring a community team, something that a
Yeah.
lot of people rally around, and probably more so individuals? Because I've always kind of wondered this dynamic of, it sounds like SIG is more of a B2B approach. You're not necessarily knocking on doors, but how does that impact the individuals that are there with their kiddos showing up and they see SIG? Like, what does that kind of uh, recognition or awareness actually do for you and your brand, as well as the company as a whole?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So since we sponsor the whole league, our logo is actually on all the back of the kids' jerseys, which is really
Hmm.
cool. And so if you think about it, when you go to the airport, you see GDIT or you see, Leidos or IBM or Apple, right? It's kind of that name recognition, especially being here in the DMV area. There's a
Okay.
lot of government, parents and GovCon parents that have their kids in the sports. So when they see our logo and then they talk to me, I've had several conversations about, oh, you guys sponsor my son's basketball team or something. It's been pretty cool, the effect that that's had. But it's been really awesome.
I like the creativity and just the uniqueness of that, because so often we would think, hey, we need to go and be advertising at the Chamber of Commerce. We need to be going and doing like the advertisement where we're in front of the B2B side of things, but we are all human beings at the end of the day. And we all potentially have kids running around. We're all running around in one way or another. And those creative opportunities to, one, actually support a team, which is very noble and exciting and fun. But two, to have the roundabout way for that to actually be really successful, because it really just shows that core values, like, we don't just care about the business side of things. Like, we want to be supporting these kids so they can have jerseys to go run around, shoes, shin guards, all the different, not shin guards. Sorry, that's in soccer, basketballs, hoops, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really, really creative way for what I would say a B2B business to really go, because that's going to be flying under the radar, I imagine.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely flying under the radar, and there's no actual like commercialing or posturing or anything like that. It's literally just, and I coach it as well. So I'm coaching my son's team.
Oh,
So
okay. All
not only
right.
do I play, I coach it as well. So
We
it's
might have to talk about you coming out to Kansas City or me heading out there and going playing some
yeah,
pickup in a little
I
bit.
love it. I would
I
love
would
that.
love to get that going out there as well. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
Awesome.
Um, Man, I love that creative idea. I've never really thought about that. And as these organizations, because I mean, my kids play, soccer, and they've got the B2C company on there, and you go there and think, oh man, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee from there, or I'm going to go grab a burger from there later, but not a, what is this SIG on the back of this thing? I have no idea
Yeah,
what's going on. And then all of a sudden I'm in a meeting and, oh,
that's right.
that immediately builds trust. Like
That's
I
right.
love that. I love that. All right. Well, let's talk about you. You started a business, which is like the easiest thing you could ever do. Um, you went through a transition of an acquisition, which is the second easiest thing I'm sure you could ever do. And now you are continuing to work a year in and haven't lost one team member. Like, what continues to motivate you to show up on a day-to-day basis, to give your heart, you give your soul, give your time to all the individuals that you're blessed to serve? What keeps you motivated, man?
Yeah. So, I mean, our clients have really put their trust in us, right? Being a small business, when we were even starting just Salytics, they trusted us. They said, hey, I know you're just starting off, but, here's a contract. Because we know you could come do this, right?
Yeah.
And so, not wanting to let them down, right? And not wanting to let things fall through the cracks, not wanting to, just turn my back on anyone and just say, you know what,
Mm,
I got my money, I'm out.
yeah. Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And then also, if we were to leave, the culture dynamic would change for also our employees, right? Because they stuck around for us.
Mm,
So for me to be selfish and say, you know what, it's all about me, I'm out, that's not fair, right? And
sure.
so
Sure.
that's what it really comes down to, is wanting to make sure that our employees are happy and doing what they need to be doing, and then also our customers are getting what we promised them.
It's always interesting to me, because every time somebody talks about like what keeps me showing up, it's never the money. It's never the necessarily the product. It's always the people that they're interacting with, whether that is a client, whether that is an individual a nonprofit serves, or even your own team members. So it just really goes to show, as these organizations are creating places to be desired, place of work, it really comes down to the focus on people. And I love seeing how many organizations are out there that do this. There's still some out there that maybe underlining it's really about the money at the very end of the day. I understand that piece of it. Like, a business has to be profitable to survive.
Right.
But the individuals that I get to have on this show, like yourself, it just really goes to show at how much, if you are willing to put the time in and effort to invest in those individuals that are sitting next to you, good things can happen. So
And
I
we had a slogan when we were starting the company, actually.
really,
Salytics.
okay. Tell me about this.
So when we were all working for someone else, right? And we were always kind of getting the short end of the stick. We were bringing in all these millions of dollars, but yet they were taking it all, and we were kind of getting this little piece of the pie.
Sure.
So our slogan was "For consultants by consultants," right? And
Mm,
we were literally making sure that our consultants got the majority of their payable hours, and we took a percentage to cover the overhead and the G&A. And that's really, I mean, our employees were very well compensated. We covered 100% of their healthcare. We paid for every
Yes.
penny of their healthcare. We did 6% 401k match, and that's kind of why the transition was really difficult, right? When we got acquired, because companies aren't used to
Things are
that.
going to change. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not used to paying 100% of their healthcare.
That is that's interesting because you can somewhat inflate a market by paying people more, but to each their own. You
Mhm.
talk about taking less of what is given to you. I very much appreciate it. I think that's a very noble thing to do. So like, were you like living out of a box because you were taking nothing? Like, how do you even run a business when you don't take the majority?
That's a great question. So we were also billable. So my business partner and I were both 100% billable. So we were in the trenches with our employees, right?
Yes.
It wasn't just, having them do the work. We were literally in the trenches with them.
Wow. Wow. So man, no wonder you guys have 100% retention in there. You
Yeah,
say, we're going to pay you good. We're going to sit next to you and literally do the work with you. And at the end of the day, we're going to make sure you guys get the bigger portion of everything versus just ourselves. So, yeah, by consultants for consultants. I
yeah,
love that motto. That can be consultants can be replaced by any word you want to say. I
that's
think
right.
that would resonate with a ton of people with that. So, Sherif, man, we're kind of nearing towards the end of the show now. Time absolutely flies when we start getting in and chatting. But if anybody wanted to get a hold of you and hear more about you and your story, things that are near and dear to you, maybe they're interested in hearing more about SIG, both from a client perspective or potentially even, hey, are you guys hiring?
Yeah.
I could use a 6% 401k match.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. They can reach out to me. My email is ssaid@strategicig.com. They can literally hit on Instagram, the Sheriff 84.
Sheriff 84.
That's
Nice, nice.
yeah,
Well, I'll echo too. If you guys can't find him, shoot me a message and I'd be happy to get you guys connected on LinkedIn. Um, when my wife and I decided to do this show, we wanted to make sure that we just showed our own gratitude and appreciation for you spending the time on here. So part of that is being able to gift a meal to somebody that you believe would be deserving of a meal, and that can definitely be somebody going through challenging life right now, or could even be a kudos or a celebration type event. So if you've got anybody in mind, maybe tell us who that is, as much information as you can give, and why
yeah,
you do want to gift that to them.
absolutely. So I would give it to actually one of our employees, Sean Barton, if that's all right. He
Yeah.
he puts in a lot of hours.
Mm.
And he literally, I think, puts 60 to 90 days or 60 to 90 hours a week in for us.
Oof.
Yeah, and it's because he loves it and he chooses to, but I feel like he always deserves a little extra for that.
Let's get him some time off on this one. I hate to say, like, our meals are really easy to cook because you don't have to do much, and we intend to have more time for them out of the kitchen. So
Absolutely.
Sean, you might be able to get more work done while dinner's being cooked, but this
There
one's
you
this one's on them. So that
go.
is not the intention behind this. We promise, Sean. Sharif, I'll get some contact info for Sean afterwards, and we'll make sure to get a meal out to him to do that. So with that, I was just going to ask you if you've got any last things you want to share with the audience before I kind of take us off.
No, I just think it's important to remember that we're all humans. We all have things going on in life, and just be kind.
Amen. Amen. Hey, leading with kindness, leading with love, whatever that does look like, it has never led me astray. So uh, we are going to be coming back next Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. A good friend of mine, maybe has or has not released a book, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with David Komar. So I'm excited to have him on the show next week at Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. So don't miss out on that. With that, Sharif, man, I am so thankful for you coming on this show. I am grateful for the way that you have led your organization and continue to lead within SIG. And I wish you nothing but the best, both personally and professionally, as you guys kind of move on. And we will definitely find some time to get on a basketball court here
I
sometime
love it.
soon. I got some ideas around that I want to throw your way. So with
Awesome.
that, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off, but continue to strengthen those relationships, both personal and professional. They will never lead you astray.
Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate it.
You-